Hi, I'm Diane Letter, and I'm your guide for a very special adventure.
In the next half hour, we're going to get a taste of a tropical rainforest in Southeast Asia, the deep, dark jungles of India, and the vast savannas of East Africa. Now, what makes this adventure different is you don't have to leave your chair, and I don't have to leave Miami's MetroZoo.
I'm the Associate Director of Education here at MetroZoo, one of the biggest and best zoos in the country.
Every year, over 800,000 people come to visit. As they roam through our 280 acres, they see what you're about to see. Some 1,200 wild animals living in a cageless environment, very much like their own habitats. What they don't get to see is what goes on behind the scenes.
Good morning. My name is Joe Sklandis, and this morning I'm preparing some diets for the European brown bear. What I have in the pan right now is some omnivore chow. They get 1.5 pounds of the omnivore chow, and they get 2 apples for each bear, and they get 2 oranges also. They get 1 mullet a day, plus we'll be giving them 1 pound of feline. This is the prepared diet for the European brown bear. I'm going to prepare some bird diets for you this morning. They're typical bird diets, a little bit of everything that the birds like the best. We've got some fruit cocktail and boiled eggs and bananas and a frugivore and a mina pellet mixed all together here. And then we add fresh fruit to that. And we got some mealworms and an artificial nectar for the birds that would normally eat out of flowers.
Proper nutrition is only part of the way we assure the well-being of our animals at MetroZoo. Also off exhibit to the public is the Animal Hospital. The Christopher A. Weeks Animal Clinic is a state-of-the-art facility built by the Zoological Society of Florida for MetroZoo.
My name is Leanne. I'm the hospital manager at MetroZoo. We've designed the whole hospital so that an animal could be moved from room to room without having to have a lot of physical, strong men carrying it. There's no door jams, which enables us to put an animal on a surgical dolly and be able to wheel it from the moment it comes into the hospital in pre-op through radiology, through recovery, without having to have hands-on heavy lifting. We are able to do this because we moved into a facility that we designed from the ground up. All the features that are in here were designed with our particular type of collection in mind.
The 6,000 square foot hospital contains separate climate-controlled wards for birds, mammals, and reptiles. It also includes intensive care, X-ray, and surgical facilities, along with a pharmacy and laboratory. Dormitory space is also provided for visiting veterinary interns. The clinic will provide sophisticated medical care for all the animals in our collection, as well as provide facilities for laboratory research. Located in close proximity to the animal hospital and directly behind the quarantine area is another type of research facility, the crocodile breeding area. Known for its success in breeding these endangered reptiles, MetroZoo received the prestigious Bean Award in 1982 for its crocodile breeding program. The breeding facility is composed of a series of large pens containing abundant vegetation and large pools of water. The seclusion of the area provides the proper conditions for the breeding of false gavials, Siamese, American, and African slender-snouted crocodiles. The zoo also holds one of only 2 specimens of Orinoco crocodiles found in the United States. We're searching for a mate for this animal so that we may breed this endangered species as well.
Let's begin your VIP tour of MetroZoo here in the Asian section.
A replica of a 13th century Cambodian temple is home for 2 of the zoo's most popular residents, our white Bengal tigers. A recessive gene is responsible for their blue eyes and white coat, as well as other characteristics that have historically made the cats attractive to hunters and trappers. As a result, there are less than 100 white Bengals in existence today, and they're in captivity. If you're wondering why the white Bengals aren't together, it's because tigers are solitary animals in the wild. In addition to the white Bengals, we also have 3 orange Bengal tigers. Although not as rare as the white Bengals, like all subspecies of tigers, they're on the endangered species list. If the tigers are one of the jungle's regal beasts, this next group has to rank as one of its court jesters.
Our Asian apes include white-handed gibbons, siamangs, and the Sumatran orangutan.
Gibbons are known as the acrobats of the animal world. With their long, strong fingers, they swing easily through the treetops of their native Southeast Asia. The gibbons are separated from their neighbors, the siamangs, by water. An ape's great muscle mass makes it impossible for it to swim, so even the most adventuresome won't go in water more than knee-deep. As a result, a relatively shallow moat keeps them from getting at each other. Siamangs are the larger of the lesser apes, which walk erect like the gibbons and are very territorial. Instead of swinging through the treetops, though, they walk along vines with ease that can make the best tightrope walker green with envy. The Sumatran orangutan may seem like the funniest of all apes, but like a lot of other animals, its ultimate survival in the wild is no laughing matter. The least sociable of the great apes, it is a highly endangered species. Our other apes at MetroZoo are in the African section and are probably the ones that you know best. Chimpanzees are common in the tropical rainforests of Africa. They are also one of the most gregarious apes, but their antics can be deceiving. A grown chimp is 5 times stronger than a man and can be very dangerous.
Next door to the chimpanzees are the biggest apes of all, the gorillas.
They live in family groups, and the male can weigh up to 500 pounds. Gorillas are extremely intelligent, as demonstrated by the head of our gorilla family, Jimmy, who entertains himself at the expense of zoo visitors. He likes to sit next to the glass window that overlooks his area and wait for a group of visitors to gather. When he has a big enough audience, he slaps the window and seems to enjoy the never-failing reaction. Even though the next animal on our tour seems to have considerable mass, it takes to the water just fine. This is the pygmy hippopotamus. It's only 1/10 the size of the more common river hippo and roams the range of West Africa alone or in pairs.
When it comes to bears here at MetroZoo, we have 3 types. Our Malayan sun bear gets its name from the yellow crescent on its chest.
This bear is nocturnal and spends the night foraging for termites, fruit, honey, and occasionally a small mammal. If the sun bear has an alter ego, at least in terms of its name, it's the Himalayan black bear, also known as the moon bear. It comes by the nickname as a result of the white marking on its chest. Our third species is the brown bear. It's the most common bear and can be found in Europe, Asia, and North Africa, and of course North America. It doesn't have any other names, or for that matter, any markings on its chest. You may be thinking that our bears, especially the Himalayan black bear, have a hard time with South Florida's hot weather. Actually, their fur works like insulation and keeps the heat out.
One of the odder-looking creatures here at the zoo is the tapir.
We have one that's found in the remote areas of Southeast Asia, specifically Malaysia, and one from Central America. These odd-toed mammals are related to the horse and the next animal on our tour, the rhinoceros. We have black rhinos that come from Africa and Indian rhinos that come from, you guessed it, India. Both are on the endangered species list, primarily because of the mistaken belief that their horns have medicinal value. As a result of its large skin folds, the Indian species is known as the armor-plated rhino. The black rhino's name is somewhat misleading, since you can see he isn't black at all. This animal's name comes from its affinity for wallowing in the mud.
Antelope, deer, and buffalo. There are 30 different species here at the zoo, grazing on 280 acres.
The African forest buffalo can be dangerously aggressive when encountered in the wild. Its horns are bent backwards for easy movement through dense undergrowth, and its large fringed ears are an indication of its keen sense of hearing. The Eld's deer is sometimes referred to as the brow-antlered deer because of the stag's uniquely shaped antlers. A note, you may think that antlers and horns are the same, but they're not.
Hello, my name is Lori Bruckheim. I'm a zookeeper in the mammal department. Horns are permanent structures. They grow throughout the life of the animal. They are found in many shapes and sizes. Antlers are shed once a year after mating season. They are branched and solid in structure. Both horns and antlers are used in territorial disputes, sexual dominance, and strength displays.
These lean and graceful animals are impalas. They form large herds and are abundant on the African plain. The black buck, it's one of the fastest animals alive, can reach speeds up to 50 miles an hour. And the springbuck, this gazelle-like animal, when alarmed, makes unique bouncing leaps called pronking. You may have noticed that in a lot of areas, the animals, especially the hooved ones, share their space with zoo birds. In this case, the European stork shares a paddock with the chamois, or chamois. Carl Birch tells us more.
I'm Carl Birch. I'm the zoological supervisor in the bird department, and on the paddock behind me are a couple of our large paddock birds. There is a saddlebill stork and an Asian whiteback vulture. Many of our mammal paddocks contain large birds that we call paddock birds. They're large enough not to be at any risk out on the paddocks, and they're easily seen by the public. They also make a nice mix with the mammals. This association has worked out pretty well for us, and it's several birds. We have European white storks that have nested on the paddock with chamois, so it's turned out to be a beneficial situation all the way around.
At a maximum height of 18 feet, the giraffe is the tallest of the living land mammals.
Each animal has its own pattern of spots. Because of the giraffe's great height and long neck, feeders are located high in the trees. Even though its neck is much longer than yours, it has the same number of vertebrae. Sharing space with the giraffe is the ostrich. Weighing as much as 300 pounds, they're the largest of the birds, but cannot fly. Also in the same area are our zebras. Their stripes are for camouflage, but not in the way that you might think.
Hi, my name is Mike Gerlach, and I'm a zoological supervisor here at MetroZoo. Behind me we have the Grevy zebras, and their striping isn't exactly for camouflage, but it breaks up their profile, their outline, and confuses predators.
Weighing up to 6 tons, the African elephant is the largest of all land mammals. They are slightly larger than our Asian elephants. In addition to size, see if you can see any other differences. For one thing, the African elephant's back is humped, while the Asian elephant has a somewhat flatter back, making it a better ride elephant. Also, the Asian elephant has smaller ears, as well as 2 small domes on the top of its head. The African elephant has only 1. Although the elephants may seem like one of the friendlier animals at the zoo, they can be very dangerous, especially for their trainer.
My name is Alan McClure. I've been asked to tell you a little bit about why elephants are such dangerous animals to work with. Of course, they're very large, strong animals. They're very intelligent animals. They have a way of finding just the weakness that you don't want them to find with people, and they're a little bit more intelligent than the people that work with them sometimes. As far as training elephants is concerned, they're just like people. Some elephants catch on a lot quicker than others. Of course, some are smarter than others. Some have special talents. Some elephants work better in some behaviors than others. Some work well up off the ground. Some are very nervous up off the ground. There's a lot of things a lot of variables in training an elephant. You just have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time.
This is the Wings of Asia aviary.
It covers 1.5 acres and is 65 feet high, making it one of the largest aviaries in the world. There are some 100 different types of tropical plants in here, and just as many bird species. One of the most interesting aspects of the aviary is the method we use to introduce new birds. Ron Johnson explains.
As we bring birds in from the wild and from other institutions, we just can't drop them off into the aviary. What we have to do is to get them acclimated to the conditions within the exhibit. And so we slowly release them by putting them into small enclosures and let them getting used to the food, sights and sounds, the other birds getting used to them. And we may keep them in small enclosures within the aviary for up to 1 to 2 weeks. Similar like the flamingos, we keep them confined to a mudflat area in a central location, get them adjusted well before they have access to the entire aviary. And by doing that, it allows us to give more birds in the aviary, different types of species, and gets them acclimated much quicker than if you would just release them into this very large exhibit.
The next stop on our VIP tour is the koala exhibit. Meet the koalas of MetroZoo. Since its opening in March of 1988, MetroZoo's koala exhibit has become a favorite among zoo visitors. This totally self-enclosed and climate-controlled environment is the product of several years of planning. Preliminary research involved consulting with other institutions which display koalas. MetroZoo's General Curator Bill Ziegler discusses the logistics of creating the exhibit.
The humidity down here in our summer months will stay as high as 90–95% for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. And that's very hard on the animals. So we had to be able to provide them with a climatically controlled inside display during the summer months. And then the barn itself, what we call a barn, which in other terms would be their night house or their quarters, we wanted to design that by eliminating the mistakes that had been made at other zoos. That's a good way of designing a zoo. Go to that institution that has the animal or does what it is you're interested in, pick their brain, try and find out what they feel should be changed about their facility and what's good about it, and then go from there and combine that from 2 or 3 different zoos and finally build your facility. And this is what we did. We looked at a number of things. One, of course, was climate control, space for the animals, and we looked at long-term maintenance. We tried to apply new materials to our barn that had not previously been used that would last for a number of years without having to go back into a facility and do the normal maintenance and repair that you would find in any building, whether it's a zoo or not.
Contrary to what their name implies, these cute little animals are not bears at all. Instead, they belong to a group of mammals called marsupials. Now, the word marsupial comes from the Latin word for the pouch, where most female marsupials carry their young. Marsupials are found in North and South America, Southeast Asia, New Guinea, and in Australia. Australia has the greatest variety. Other animals included in this group are kangaroos, wallabies, and opossums. The koala, known to scientists as Phascolarctos cinereus, lives only in the eucalyptus forests of the eastern coast of Australia. Although there is only one species of koala, scientists have grouped the animals into 3 subspecies according to their physical characteristics and distribution. The Queensland koala is the northernmost subspecies, living closest to the equator. It's the smallest koala, weighing from 13 to 20 pounds. Its fur is short and light gray in color. The Victorian koala is much larger, reaching 2 feet in length and weighing up to 30 pounds. Its fur is darker and longer, sometimes appearing reddish in color. The 3rd subspecies, the New South Wales koala, is intermediate in size, coloration, and location to the other 2. The koalas exhibited here at MetroZoo belong to the Queensland subspecies. The diet of the koala is very specific. The animals eat only the leaves and tender shoots of the eucalyptus, or gum tree. There are several hundred species of eucalyptus, but koalas prefer to browse only from a few of them. The leaves contain chemical compounds which are toxic to most animals, but the koala's liver is able to detoxify these compounds, making the eucalyptus an abundant food source. As a plant eater, or herbivore, the koala has a specialized digestive tract to break down the vegetation. As a result, koalas emit a characteristic odor similar to that of a eucalyptus cough drop. Before construction began on MetroZoo's koala exhibit, a eucalyptus grove was planted on a 5-acre irrigated site in the southeast corner of the zoo. 5 of the most taste-tempting species of gum tree were chosen for the captive koalas. The first residents of the new exhibit are 3 Queensland koalas that were born and raised at the San Diego Zoo and Wild Animal Park. The San Diego Zoo holds the largest collection of koalas in the United States, and they have developed a very successful breeding program. Their koala barns are open air, requiring no climate control, since the Southern California climate is very similar to that of Queensland, Australia. A 10-year-old male named Kubor, a 4-year-old female named Sydney, and a 3-year-old female named Muesli were chosen to begin the new captive colony at MetroZoo. The koala keeper begins her day by checking the night report that records activities observed by the night keeper. Next, she makes notes on the activities and food consumption. An important part of monitoring the health of the animals is a regular weighing. Each animal is carefully removed from the tree in its enclosure and perched temporarily on a branch suspended from a scale. Koalas that have maintained their weight are allowed to go to their own public exhibit area. The koalas tend to be more active during the evening hours. However, they do spend a total of about 20 hours sleeping in a 24-hour period. They wake occasionally to eat. Koala keeper Connie Phillip talks about the animals.
There is a big difference between the 3 of them. The male, Kubor, tends to be pretty laid back. You know, he's the older guy. He's been around longer. He knows, you know, he teaches us. And then Sydney, the youngest one, can be feisty, but she's dealing with us. That's about her attitude on it. And Muesli, she's a real sweetheart. She really is. Sydney, all day long, she sleeps a lot, but she's the one who'll wake up for minutes at a time all during the day. Muesli will sleep all day long until about 4 o'clock, and she'll wake up because she knows it's time to go in again. But sometimes Muesli will turn her back to everybody, but that's just her way. You know, she'll sleep. That's comfortable for her. And Sydney usually gets the weird positions, an arm out here or a leg down there.
The growth of the zoo through exhibits like these is another example of the commitment to conservation, research, and education on the part of MetroZoo and the Zoological Society of Florida. Time is up, and I hope you've enjoyed your VIP tour. I'd like to thank you, too, for helping to support our zoo. You see, the shop where you bought this tape is run by the Zoological Society of Florida, and the money they make there goes towards keeping MetroZoo in operation. It's just part of the Society's ongoing effort to help keep us one of the best zoos in the country. As we leave, let's take one last look around.